So it started with just the people around me at large companies and getting excited about that and saying, I care the most about my colleagues. Those end up being my friends. We've seen the studies of workplace happiness is having a best friend at work. And so the start of Revive was a little bit of, I need to do this, it's now or never, but it never changed my focus of saying, I want to create a place that's just a positive work environment. And that to me is what culture is. It's not about creating fun events, although I just came back from an absolutely fun event. It's more about creating that positive work environment. And everything I do is centered around that, because the numbers, and I know I talk too much about the numbers out of the gate, but the numbers are just a means in which to continue this fun run of creating a better place, really, through good jobs for the people that we come in contact with.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
You know the importance of your people and the importance of employee culture go right in hand with that. When you want to create a place that people love to come to work at and they work at their highest levels, you have the right culture in place. This is about communication, about trust, about empowerment, and it's so many more things. And today's special guest is Adam Goering. He is the co-founder of Revive Media. They were number 69 on the Inc. list this past year in 2023, which put them in the top tier of fastest growth companies. I share that with you because culture is not just about something nice to have. It actually drives profitability and productivity. It drives impact. So the importance of employee culture is today's topic. What I love most about Adam and I chatting is just, he's very humble about his perspective of leadership, and some of the things that we talk about, like repelling the wrong people, are very valuable. Most people don't get it. Hopefully you'll get as much out of this as I enjoyed creating it for you. My name is Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach. We do leadership development, and we really want to help you perform and your business perform at the highest levels possible, and for you to be the leader that your people deserve. We have a tool that we use to help you understand where you are from a leadership perspective. If you could measure leadership, you would use this tool, the Leadership Effectiveness Evaluation. It is 7 dials. Where do you fit on those 7 dials, and where do you need to focus? It's customized for you, and it's personalized in a conversation with me directly. And we just talk about your business and talk about these different elements, and you get to decide what's most important as you move forward. We'll create a plan for you. And if you want to work together, we talk about those things after the fact. Maybe you just sit with it for a little bit and you execute from the Leadership Effectiveness Evaluation. If you're ready for that, just go to genehammett.com and schedule your call today. Mention that you got it and you heard about it on the podcast, and you get it absolutely free. And absolutely a way to move forward with this relationship in a personalized, customized way. Just go to genehammett.com and schedule your call today. Now, here's the interview with Adam. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Gene?
I am doing great. I know that you've just come back from an employee retreat. You're from New Orleans, or you went to New Orleans the first time ever, and you were a little shocked.
Yeah, I'm from Nebraska and didn't make a lot of travel trips growing up, so I haven't seen a lot of the states, and to see that state with my entire company present was a whirlwind.
Maybe people listening in are thinking about the first time they went to New Orleans. I was in college, and I went to Mardi Gras the very first time. So it's on this absolute charts. Everything was wild, and it was fun in college. I don't know if I do it now, but I love the food down there. Glad that you're here with us today, Adam. Your company, Revive Media, was number 69 on the Inc. list. What are you guys up to at Revive?
Yeah, we are a platform company that started with helping Amazon specifically. We have a primary focus there now, but it's about helping local businesses. We have some Fortune 500 companies as well, but really in helping local business, it's about creating the efficiency to do so. So we've run, at the end of this year, 50,000 campaigns. That's what we're anticipating, over 80 million in ad spend. And what I'm saying there is just it's a lot of volume that comes to our platform. So it tests your tool and test your people. And Amazon was an excellent ground in having a lot of mediums like video, audio, display. So all that came together to build a really good platform.
So I know that there's been a lot of people on the podcast before that work in the ecosphere of Amazon. Where do you see this going for you at Revive Media over the next 3 years?
Yeah, we're excited about what we've built is, I mean, there was a study that was we were told we were 18 times faster than internal account management teams in launching campaigns. And why I say that is we built a tool that helped us accomplish that, but it was through workflows. It was through taking people out of email, getting people together in a collaboration space. And all of that made it possible to run the volume that I said before. What I see in the future is AI is really exciting. The day that my business partner talked to me about AI in a serious sense, it scared me to death, because we're a platform that helps with the servicing of local business, and I see AI being a really valuable piece to accelerating that. But after that fear goes away, you get excited about the fact that our infrastructure is all around workflows and sort of a coaching network of sorts to say, where do we utilize AI to come in at the right places to give that best experience for the end customer? So I see in the future a QR code for someone who I'm with my wife and kids and I'm getting a donut on Sunday morning, and I walk by and I see a laundromat and the laundromat owner says hi to me, and just I happen to jump into a conversation and they say, I want to advertise, but it's not accessible to me. I have them scan a QR code. And to me, that is the future of self-service. I want that business owner being in the cockpit, if you will, being able to pull the levers, but also speaking in their language. And we can do that through AI, and we're almost there. But it strikes a chord for a passion too, that I'm sure we'll get into later.
Well, we're not going to talk about the technology and even the platform that you guys have and the 50,000 campaigns. We're going to get to the heart of it. I think the people are the most important element of any business, and culture is a way we kind of collect these things together. So what is the importance of employee culture to you?
Well, I think it started with me just being grateful to get into an industry that maybe was more exciting to me growing up in Nebraska. So it started with just the people around me at large companies and getting excited about that and saying, I care the most about my colleagues. Those end up being my friends. We've seen the studies of workplace happiness is having a best friend at work. And so the start of Revive was a little bit of, I need to do this, it's now or never, but it never changed my focus of saying, I want to create a place that's just a positive work environment. And that to me is what culture is. It's not about creating fun events, although I just came back from an absolutely fun event. It's more about creating that positive work environment, and everything I do is centered around that, because the numbers, and I know I talked too much about the numbers out of the gate, but the numbers are just a means in which to continue this fun run of creating a better place, really, through good jobs for the people that we come in contact with.
Adam, you don't have to apologize about the numbers with me. I'm an engineer. I love spreadsheets. And I love numbers. I love to be able to like clearly define where we stand in when I work with my clients and whatnot. So I appreciate you telling us the numbers, but we also want to look at culture, some of the elements that you have seen that worked well for you. You mentioned something. I'm going to go ahead and plant the seed for you. You said we did a company retreat together, and I know you're a fully remote team. You got about 40 or 50 people? And it is not easy for us to take time to get to really know each other, but you bring the retreat together and you don't talk about any work. There's no work sessions at all. It's all fun. It's all connecting one-to-one. Why do you make that kind of investment and just don't talk about work?
Yeah, it's funny. I think some of the employees are sort of almost wanting to talk about work. Not almost, they absolutely are. And I'm steadfast in this sort of thought where we benefit a lot from not having a big corporate lease. We benefit in a lot of different ways. We get more hours probably out of our employees because they're not doing the 1 hour commute in both directions. But that means that the company has to take care of the people to give back. And there's the serendipitous moments of meeting at the water cooler, the happy hours, There's all of that we're not doing it intentionally, but we're robbing our employees of that. So we need to have, what's the most efficient way to maybe give back? It's this concentration of those moments. So we come together. This is our 4th annual. The first one was 2 other people. I think I pulled over, and it was 1 male and 1 female at the company at that point, and we got pedicures. So I was trying to make sure that there was some enjoyment for knowing that I'm going to want to play sports and things like that. But it's fun to look back on that time and then fast forward to something like New Orleans, which was as in control of an out of control situation you can have.
Give me 1 or 2 sentences on this whole aspect of no work, all play on a company retreat. What do you feel like the real benefit of that is?
Providing those deep connections that you can't put into words. I can connect with somebody through vulnerability, through transparency, through just, standing up and showing, I should do it now, that I'm wearing shorts. You can do something to try to get and cross that line into that we are people. We are not just this Zoom screen. But it's there's something that you can't put into words, and so you'll see it. And I'll never forget our last year was in Austin, and the year before Montana, but it was Montana where we moved beyond 3 people. I remember walking behind the group and just seeing people together and seeing the joy of those connections. And I think that was the first moment where I felt like I was a CEO and that it was a company, which is sad in a sense, but just extremely happy in that moment. And so it is about just building those connections that you can't put your finger on. And I think for the people of Revive, they had deep connections, and they would have had that same thing to say. It's like, I don't know what it was, but it was just so fun to see your voice and your picture in real life next to me and just feel that presence.
Adam was just talking about deep connection. You want to make sure you're intentional about people having personal relationships. One of the ways I like to do that is at the beginning of a meeting, spend a few minutes on what's going on personally in their lives. Get to know what their family's doing, what their hobbies are, what challenges they may have. Do they have an aging parent that they're concerned with? Get to know your people at a personal level. Then you will understand their world a little bit better. It provides a little context to the stress they may be under. Maybe they're distracted in certain ways. You can give them a little bit more grace, but make sure that you take the time to build those deep connections, one person at a time. Back to Adam. Adam, we're talking about the importance of employee culture, and you have talked about this retreat. Let's talk about the day-to-day things. I don't know how you structure the week or have rituals. What do you feel like adds the most benefit to your overall culture as you guys work together?
I think it starts with leadership. It starts with me and then our leadership team thinking about what are we giving the people in having a remote lifestyle. It's not trying to make it be some of the beneficial aspects of being in an office, but being true to ourselves. And that means that people want to work in a more asynchronous way. They want to control their calendar. And so we have very few company-wide meetings. And I think that's important, that we don't start trying to make this something that it's not. And in terms of rituals, we have things like, what are you missing maybe in that physical world? And it's we started thinking about the senses, and we have boutique coffee that's shipped to everybody. And the hope was now people pick their own coffee. Someone gives like a curated, this is the coffee, but people pick their own coffee, which defeats the purpose. But we wanted to taste the same thing while we were in this, we call it coffee and potatoes, which is like the meat and potatoes. And we talk about just things that are real, and we don't talk about work there. So that's maybe people get shunned if they bring up work in that meeting. Yeah, that's.
What is the structure of that? Like how often and how long is that meeting?
It's an hour long. It's every 2 weeks. And yeah, there's other things that we do there. One is people give a presentation. The name is escaping me, but I believe it originated in Japan, where you go through 5-minute presentation, 20 slides, 15 seconds each, and I'm sort of scared of public speaking, which is amazing that I'm on this call right now. And but it's that sort of format allows people to talk about things that they care about and are passionate about, go beyond the screen, and then it should set you up to fail a little bit in the speed in which going through those slides. So it makes you feel more comfortable with that. And that's how we treat sales calls too. Not set things up to fail, but we want to get in and just tell people what we have to offer and be real with that. And if that's not good for someone, we don't want to work with them because we don't want to set up the relationship to fail. So we're just sort of preaching everything we do in these rituals to just, change the world in the way of like, let's be good people. Let's not have the pressures of taking too much on that then we have to provide bad service and go from there.
You said something earlier that we don't talk about it a lot, but I think there's a nature of the business that is moving a little bit more asynchronous. Mm-hmm. In our company, we're using Google Documents, and we're kind of, putting links in there, and we're using that for meeting agendas. We're using it for other things that allow people to come to meetings prepared. How do you guys look at asynchronous work in your company?
Yeah, so we use it's a no-code platform. Right out of the gate, we sort of started creating our own CRM. And that means that even for this meeting, I've clicked the button, I've created a page that can turn into a website, but I've taken notes, just like what goes on in this conversation that I want to remember. And I think in the pre-call with you, we talked a little bit about just like people have their different ways of remember things, and maybe it's saying it out loud. For me, it's writing it down on paper. And you think about if you're an asynchronous company or a remote company, getting things down on paper is so beneficial, and getting into that right mindset that everything should be shareable. And of course, there's some HR level things that you just can't get out there for everybody to see. But we started in our infrastructure of just saying, take notes, be okay with everything being exposed. And that goes down to our email client too. It's a company that allows you to iMessage within the strings. And we've had some people come back and say, I added someone, I didn't understand the tool, and it gave me that hot feeling that everybody's had and that you talked about somebody. And I said, great. And they came back to me and said, it was good. It ended up being good, but just we want to train everybody to be good people and to not, try to form politics. Nobody's trying to form politics, but try to fight against politics forming and just being open and honest with your colleagues. And we have to do things as a company to promote that and make it easier to have that transparency. And it sets you up in a wonderful way for the future. Because to answer your question a long way, it comes back to just people can see what you're doing. Because otherwise, and we deal with this, otherwise it's hard to know that others are down in the trenches with you.
Adam, we're talking about the importance of employee culture, and I know hiring is a big part of that. Is there anything you guys do as it relates to the process or the questions within hiring that allow you to hire the right people that's a fit for your culture?
Yeah, I always say I don't even care about the resume, and then I qualify it by saying, well, I look at the resume as a due diligence in the end. But I know we invested in maybe some key positions. We had an outside recruiter. That didn't go so well. It didn't go so well because of the person involved. It was more so, if we care about culture, we need someone that's listening to every aspect of our business. And they really become the best way to get good people, because they need to know the type of person, less what the qualifications are. That's what I believe. And so when we're going through that, we're looking at about me. We're looking at the best way to understand someone is how they portray themselves, how they write, how they're going to then connect with the broader employee base. And so we're trying, I call it cheat to win. I suppose we can't operationalize all of this in a way in which for the legal side, but we're definitely preaching that we need to get in and better understand the person and less so about the X's and O's of what they've done in the past. And I'm sort of bitter. 3 people have come into Revive without me interviewing them because I think it's a skill that I have, which is I go in, and I think the team is sort of picking up on this. I go in and I tell potential new hires why they might not want this job. I want to set the expectation up front of the hard things about our business, and then we get into deep conversation. And if I have such a focus on culture, the company is nothing without good people. And so we need to have all of our focus on bringing in good people.
Now, Adam just said, your people may not want this job, and your job is to repel them. And I really believe that. You want to make sure that you have certain places inside the hiring process that repel the wrong people and attract the right people. You may tell them how hard the job is, how they are expected to deliver on certain standards of work, how innovative you require them to be, your rituals of communication, where some people find that they don't like your culture. Be real with people, because if you're just shining on the best parts of your business, they're not able to make a full decision. Is this right for them? Repel the wrong people so that you can attract the right people. Back to Adam. Adam, we're almost out of our time. Is there anything I left out that you feel like is important in relation to your employee culture that you wanted to share with us?
Oh, I was getting into it was nice you asking me these questions and me having these long drawn out answers. I don't know. I suppose I love always talking to our people about focusing on, we have this limited time to connect with people because we are giving more time back in their schedules. And so when you get on a meeting, it's so important to bring good energy. And that starts with me. I've been married for 12 years, happily married, and that matters. Your home life matters because it always bleeds into work. So having people conscious of that, of bringing good energy into that call, forcing it some days, you won't then get into this tailspin of someone else having that bad energy that was given to them and they pass it along. So that is culture, right? It's I suppose you want to show the good and the bad in interactions with anybody, but it's how you do it. And yeah, I'll stop there.
Adam, great conversation. I really appreciate you sharing with us your wisdom about the importance of employee culture.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Gene.
Wow, great interview with Adam. He talks about culture in a way that lets you know that he really cares about his people. He really does want them to enjoy the work that they're doing, enjoy the togetherness of that. And it shows in many places. One of the things I like most is about his ability to gather together weekly, or bi-weekly, if you will, but also yearly in the retreats, and not talk about work. And actually it's off limits so that people can get to know and have deep connection. I really like that. Now, does that mean you can't talk about work? No, but you want to do it in a way that makes it fun for everyone and really does help you go forward. But if you just talk about the numbers and like, here's where we are and here's where we're going, they're going to read through that. Make sure that you do it the right way for you and your culture. When you think about leadership, you want to make sure that you continue to grow. If you need an executive coach, or you want to explore those things, or you want coaching for someone on your team, a manager or director, think of us. We'd be happy to help you. When you think of growth, and leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, the courage. We'll see you next time.